Imagine losing your entire collection of rare baseball cards, priceless artwork, or vintage guitars in an instant, not because of a fire or theft, but simply because you didn't have a plan in place for what happens to them after you're gone. This is a harsh reality that many collectors face, and it's a nightmare for estate planners. Your collection, whether it's stamps, coins, or bobbleheads, brings you joy and is also a valuable asset that needs to be considered in your estate plan. But here's where it gets complicated. Placing a precise value on a collection is a tricky business, according to accountants and attorneys who deal with estate planning. And what happens to those paintings or vintage guitars when you die? Splitting a collection seems to defeat its purpose, and some of your heirs may not share your enthusiasm for Eisenhower-era comic books. As Wayne Hassay, a Legal Shield provider attorney and managing partner at McGuire Schneider Hassay in Ohio, puts it, imagine you don't have a will. How do you distribute 10,000 baseball cards or 500 bottles of wine among your 6 intestate heirs? This is a question that many collectors struggle with, and it's essential to have a plan in place to ensure that your collection is handled correctly. So, how do you handle collections in estate plans? Here are 5 expert tips to consider. First, document your collection. If you have a collection with financial or sentimental value, consider making a record of what you have and what it's worth. At a minimum, self-document your collection, as Sarah Gaiman, a CPA at Berkowitz Pollack Brandt in Florida, suggests. Your own documentation is something credible, and it gives you a baseline of what the value could be. Ideally, populate a spreadsheet or fill a file folder with descriptions of every item in the collection, including how you got it, why it's valuable, what you paid, and what it might be worth today. Don't have time for a spreadsheet? Take photographs or video of your collection. While you're at it, make a visual record of your other stuff. As Elizabeth Buffardi, a CPA and certified financial planner in the Chicago area, notes, back in the day, they used to say, walk around your house and take a video of all the rooms in your house. That way, if there's a natural disaster, you can say, look, insurance company, here's all the stuff that was in my house. Second, consider insuring your collection. If you have a collection with considerable value, look into having it insured. And don't presume it's already insured. There is an assumption that homeowners insurance covers collections, but this is not always the case. Homeowner policies vary widely in whether and how they cover collections. Consider taking out a valuable items policy, which is typically designed to cover jewelry, musical instruments, and other collectibles. In the process, the insurer will probably ask you to document your collection, and they may ask you to get an appraisal. However, before insuring your collection, decide if it's worth the cost. Insurance costs are rising, so you need to think about whether the cost of insurance is worth the potential loss. As Buffardi puts it, you have to think about if it's lost, stolen, damaged, how sad will I be? How big of a hit are you willing to take on it? Third, appraise your most valuable items. Formal appraisals can get pricey, and you might not want to hire an appraiser to pin a price on your Beanie Babies collection. But for high-value artwork, jewelry, and the like, appraisals matter. If you start broaching 5 figures and above, it's probably not a bad idea to do it. As Michael Chua, principal attorney at Paxtera Law in Los Angeles, suggests, appraisals help with insurance coverage and estate planning, and they also signal to potential heirs that the weird, splotchy painting above the fireplace should not go to the dumpster. Fourth, tell loved ones what you have. The last thing you want after your death is for your prized baseball card collection to land in a recycling bin. You know why your collection matters, but your loved ones may not. Consider taking some time to walk them through it. A lot of times, people will save something because they think it's valuable, and then the younger generation will say, oh my God, that's the first thing I'm throwing out, as Buffardi notes. Too many aging Americans shy away from discussing their valuables with loved ones, Hassay says. A gut instincts of so many clients he's seen over the years is, it's about money. It's private. I'm not going to talk about money, but it's essential to tell your loved ones about your collection, where you keep it, what it's worth, and where to find any documentation about its value and provenance. In case they don't plan to keep it, tell them how to find a dealer or auction house that would net them a good price. If you're a collector, you know what you have, and you know where to sell it, as Gaiman points out. Finally, write a plan for distributing your collection. Divvying up a collection in an estate plan can be tricky. Who gets the one painting that's worth 5 figures? Some loved ones might care more than others about your fine wines or vintage LPs. If you're going to leave your children $100,000, it's cash, and they can easily spend it, as Gaiman notes. But if you leave your kids $40,000 worth of vinyl, how are they going to sell it? Who's going to buy it? It's essential to include valuable collections in a will or trust, which instructs how to distribute your stuff upon your death. Trusts are generally more complex, but they are ideal vehicles for passing collections to your heirs, Chua says. A trust allows the grantor to have very specific directions about where this item is to go, in terms of the beneficiaries, he notes. The more careful you are in estate planning, Chua says, the more likely you can avoid disputes among loved ones after you die. And this is the part most people miss. Having a plan in place can save your loved ones a lot of stress and conflict. So, what do you think? Do you have a collection that you're passionate about, and have you considered what will happen to it after you're gone? Do you think it's essential to have a plan in place for your collection, or do you think it's not a big deal? Let us know in the comments. And this is a question that sparks a lot of debate. Should you prioritize the monetary value of your collection or its sentimental value? Should you leave your collection to your loved ones, or should you consider donating it to a museum or charity? The decision is not always easy, and it's essential to consider your options carefully. But one thing is clear. Having a plan in place for your collection can give you peace of mind and ensure that your legacy lives on.